us on Geek Blurb, the show you can't ignore. Wayne and Kevin diving deep into all things galore. Comic book, movie, sci-fi, and action thrill. Reviewing new TV shows, we keep it real. Reminiscing the attitude era, wrestling at its peak. Nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, memories we seek. Pineapples for our rings, a unique touch. Geek culture in our blood, we love it so much. Geek Blurb, we love it so much. Geek Blurb, where we talk about it all, from superheroes to wrestlers. We stand tall, Ray and Kevin, the dynamic duo in sight. Geek Blurb, shining bright, shining bright. Did you hear about Pluto? That's messed up, right? Geek Blurb, taking you on a nostalgia flight. From movies to TV, we cover it all. Join us every week, we'll have a ball. Shuffle.
Hey, welcome everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
Our second live stream. For great geeky reasons tonight, we are live after the Hall H panel at Marvel. Kevin has been working, so he has no idea what happened, which is great. So I get to spoil all of this shit to him live.
Outside of one text I got from a friend like 5 minutes ago.
Okay, yeah, so I kind of figured the big one would be revealed to you. We'll get to that at the end. We're going to do a little bit of a State of the Union. Not much, I didn't get a lot of notes on that, but talk a little bit Marvel, DC, and also talk about a few things that were announced today at Comic-Con. Saturday's show. First off was a trailer for Dexter Original Sin. Did you see this? I think I sent it to you this morning.
I did not.
It's the intro to Dexter Original Sin. It's the
nice.
It's the new actors taking place of the old intro to the original Dexter series with Michael C. Hall. Except Christian Slater's there with Dexter. They're getting ready instead of just Dexter getting ready, brushing his teeth and all that. Very
Nice.
cool. Also announced last night, Michael C. Hall is returning to voice over Original Sin and also returning for his own series, a sequel to New Blood called Resurrection, coming out next summer.
We'll have to see about that.
Yep, because I
At least
was spoiled today.
before the next season of House of the Dragon.
Yep, I was spoiled today about the end of New Blood.
Yep.
So I know I'm not going to get into it now because anybody who hasn't watched Dexter, I don't want to ruin it for them. But it's going to be interesting to see how they play that out. Yeah, he showed up as a surprise panelist at the panel last night. Couple of things I want to note before we get into the DC news. Mortal Kombat 1 announced some DLC characters. Going to be Scream from the Scream movies, Ghostface, Conan the Barbarian, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Evil T-1000 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I know these DLC characters are very popular. I know Terminator was one year, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's why I bought the game.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is one of the games that is not going to be having to worry about the voice actor strike happening in Hollywood right now. They are going to be able to continue making that game. It's going to come out as scheduled. A lot of other games are going to be delayed, but that is one of them that is not going to be affected by that. Also, Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, the 35th installment of that, is going to be doing a parody of Venom, with Homer being taken over by a symbiotic pair of jeans. Saw a new poster for Everybody Still Hates Chris, the animated version of Everybody Hates Chris with Chris Rock did in the early 2000s. Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has been renewed for a third season. I am not caught up on The Walking Dead. I know you've caught up on some of it.
Not seen any of the spin-offs.
Okay. And then there's also going to be another one. I guess the new one is The Book of Carol. I have no idea about this stuff. I put it in there, so I wasn't sure. Invincible is going to be a fourth season of that on Amazon Prime. And it's going to be a second season of Sausage Party Foodtopia, which just debuted the first season at the beginning of the month. So yeah, I didn't watch that either. So get into the DC news. Peacemaker currently filming. One of the directors of Peacemaker posted on Instagram today thanking the cast. In the cast name, Joel Kinnaman is listed on there too, thinking that he's part of this cast. If you've seen the Suicide Squad that James Gunn did, he died.
Yes.
So I don't know how that's going to happen. Flashback maybe?
Because I think his dad's going to be in the show, so that's my guess.
Yeah, possible. You're right, possible. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Brand new trailer for Superman and Lois Season 4, the final season. Superman fighting Doomsday in space looks really cool. That comes out on October 17th. And Prime Video, next week on the 1st, Cape Crusader Batman is coming out on Amazon Prime. And they introduced us to the new penguin, Oswalda Cobblepot. It's going to be a female penguin. That season comes out on August 1st. I think 10 episodes. We saw a new trailer for The Penguin came out tonight. September 19th, the show is going to be coming out. And it was also announced that Colin Farrell will be starring in Batman 2, coming back again.
Good.
They had a activation. They had this Iceberg Lounge at the Comic-Con where you go in there, get drinks, and get 2 drink minimum.
Nice.
But they had the whole...
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. And they had this whole entire thing set up like the Iceberg Lounge from the Batman. It was a big, like, almost like a speakeasy looking thing. I had some pictures on our notes about it, but looked really, really cool. But after that, we got Harley Quinn Season 5 coming in November. Have you watched the Harley Quinn cartoon series?
Yes, I talked to you about the Valentine's Day episode.
You watched them all? That's right.
I've seen the first... It fell off after Season 3.
That's what I was wondering.
1 through 3 are really
if you're
good.
Caught up.
But I stopped watching like halfway through Season 4, I think.
Yep. Okay. But new season coming out on in November.
Yep.
Creature Commandos, brand new trailer. Looked great. Came out last night. Comes out in December. No official date, but the time it is coming out in December. They announced a new logo for DC Studios. That was announced yesterday. That'd be 80s and 90s, the classic style.
Yeah, it ran from like 75 to 2005 or something like that,
yep.
I think.
The one I always remembered when I had comic books. So, yep. And kind of the state of the union for DC is, I mean, the big thing right now is Superman. That's the next big thing in the lexicon of DC movies. Will we finally see Brainiac in live action? What do you think?
Hope so. I
hope so too. I think it's one of those characters. Right, I think it's one of those characters that everybody wants to see. I think we wanted to see it with Cavill for the longest time, but that's not going to happen. And do you think this all is going to lead, the DCU is all going to lead to a Justice League movie? Or is the Justice League already going to be together?
I think that Brainiac's going to be introduced in Superman, but he's going to be a Justice League villain. That the whole overarching thing is going to be about Brainiac as the villain. At least that's what I hope. Because he's kind of too big. Like, obviously he's a Superman villain, but it'd be nice to see him against the entire Justice League. And I think that parts of the Justice League will be formed in this movie because they just formed the Hall of Justice. So hopefully we lead to Brainiac at some point, whether it's just hints of him or actually seeing him in Superman or not.
Yep. And the Marvel news. Let's start off. There's a lot of Marvel news. The Hall H panel just ended an hour ago. So let's begin. We'll talk about the box office of Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going to be making $96 million in its opening day, beating any R-rated movie before it, becoming a record, and 6th highest of all time of any movie. So that's pretty spectacular. It made the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, become the first film franchise to cross $30 billion in the global box office. That's huge. With a film franchise that's been around a little over 15 years, that's pretty spectacular too. So,
especially averaging $1 billion a movie.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yep. Deadpool, mentioned it when we recorded the podcast last night, is in Disneyland, and he has this thing where he has a storybook with Deadpool. I just wanted to mention this because I've seen the videos. If you haven't seen them, search them out online because there are a lot of sexual innuendos happening at Disneyland that I don't think people really know about, because if they did, he would be out of Disneyland in pretty much now. But also at Comic-Con, they released a new picture of for art of Deadpool and Wolverine exclusive to Comic-Con looked really cool. I did put that in our notes. I forgot to put it in the panel discussion. But so let's get into Hall H. All started off with a bunch of Deadpools dancing around the audience and a choir coming out singing Like a Prayer. That was how it was started. Very cool, very funny. And then Kevin Feige came out. Rob Delaney, who plays Peter in Deadpool, came out to host the panel. And then they started off with a cast of Captain America Brave New World. We got Tim Blake Nelson confirmed as the leader. We already knew that. Giancarlo Esposito as the King of the Serpent Society, who is Sidewinder. This is a character. This is what he looks like in the comic books. We didn't really know who he was going to be playing, but that's a picture of him right there, Kevin.
Ooh, nice.
Adamantium was confirmed. That's going to be part of the Celestials as well. And they had footage of Harrison Ford changing into the Red Hulk during a speech in front of the White House. And I have a picture of Harrison Ford right here, hulking out on stage at the Hall H panel.
Oh, God.
Old ass Harrison Ford.
82?
82, yeah.
Good
And then
him.
the Thunderbolts cast comes out. David Harbour comes out dressed as the Red Guardian. And actually the whole entire cast comes out, and he comes out of the audience and is like, I thought we were all gonna dress up, and he's the only one that dressed up. Let's see. Yeah, the whole entire cast comes out. We already know most of that cast already. And the footage is being described as espionage meets Suicide Squad. Give that kind of type of feel. That's what the audience was kind of saying about it. And then we get into the Fantastic Four. Cast is filming on Tuesday. It comes out official date July 25th of next year. I think that may have changed. I'm not sure. The 1960s New York in an alternate universe was confirmed. Matt Shackman says, I love the Fantastic Four. We want to be true to the comics, but we also want to be true to life. So they talked to real scientists to get ideas of physics and time travel and multiversal ideas. So Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards in the trailer will be a Bill Nye the Science Guy type of host of a science show. Ben Grimm is going to be in a dating show, like a dating game type of show. And a brand new title for this movie came out as well. Fantastic Four, First Steps. Very weird title, you're right.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Also, confirmed that they're going to be having a fantastic car based off of an old style Cadillac with a Jetson aesthetic. And it flew into the Hall H. It flew right into the Hall H panel.
Like that. I like me some Jetson style cars.
And the Fantastic Four were announced to be in both of the Avengers movies. So we got Russo's brothers confirmed for Avengers 5 and 6. That was confirmed on stage.
Thank Christ.
Avengers Secret Wars coming out May 2027. And then the whole entire audience, the whole entire room turned green. And a whole bunch of Doctor Dooms came out and announced the next movie is going to be called Avengers Doomsday, Change from Kang Dynasty, coming out in May 2026 in 2 years. And all of these Dooms come out, and one costume Doom comes out, takes his helmet off, and it's Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom. And then they hug it out with the Russo brothers. And then we get the official title logo of Avengers.
Is he gonna be like a variant of Doom, or is he actually?
I'm guessing he'll be playing. Yeah, he's gonna be Doom, but they're gonna be playing off the multiversal fuckery of everything too.
Okay.
So, but yep, Robert Downey Jr. coming back. I love that picture of him. Just
technically he wears a mask, so it doesn't really matter.
That's exactly what he.
Mask, so
that's exactly what he said. Different mask, same task. So.
Yep.
So yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome running. I think the reason why we didn't get a whole slate yet is because D23 is happening in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks maybe. And we're going to get a ton of new stuff. They didn't have any of the TV stuff on here. That's all going to be D23. We'll get a full slate of the next 2 years up until Avengers Secret War, I think. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Full speculations on post Secret Wars and even Secret Wars 2. After Secret Wars, I think we're gonna get the X-Men. OG comic team brought to the new Sacred Timeline is what I'm thinking. Professor X, Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, the original team from the very, very origin. Because Kevin Feige, he always goes back to the original comics when he brings these characters in, so I think that's where it's going to begin. I think we're going to get a. Well, they're bringing adamantium in through this. I think we're going to get an origin of Wolverine through the MCU because we don't know the MCU's version of Wolverine. We haven't met him yet. I think for me, I think the show should be called, or the movie should be called, Weapon X for his origin, and maybe a limited series too, or a special presentation. Who knows?
That would be cool.
But make this version of Logan an MCU exclusive. Like, we don't know. Probably going to bring in a new actor, younger actor to play him. Who knows who it'll be? But with James Gunn now at DC, are the paths being set for an eventual Marvel versus DC epic crossover? Now, before this, we're obviously going to be getting Avengers versus X-Men. That wasn't announced, however. Like you mentioned to me in text, there was a official social media, I think on X or Twitter, of Avengers versus X-Men. But there was nothing posted on there. The movie wasn't announced. And I don't think it's going to come out before Secret Wars. It'll probably be way after that. So, well, that's basically all I have. It was kind of a short pin. It was an hour, but there was only 3 things that they really talked about. And then they talked about Avengers and both Avengers movies very, very briefly at the end when they brought out Robert Downey. But overall, I'm excited. I was very excited to see Robert Downey come out on stage. If you've seen the video, go on Twitter and X and look up that video of Robert Downey coming out. It's very cool. See him ripping off the mask and just throwing his arms up like classic Tony Stark, putting the sunglasses on.
My favorite one of all time is going to be Andrew Garfield.
That was great too.
That was because was he like in the crowd?
He was in the audience,
and then he
asking a question. That
was awesome.
That was awesome. Yep.
So I have a question for you then. Do you think it's a big deal that James Gunn did not go himself?
I think they're gonna do their own thing. I think they're gonna do another DC fandom because they're gonna miss out on promoting the thing. This would have been a great promotion. They promoted it a little bit. They didn't do the full promotion.
Half an hour. The merch sold out in a half an hour. By day 2, there was no more shirts left. They ordered more and they sold out again.
Because by the time next year's Comic-Con happens, it'll be already out. Superman. Unless it gets delayed, but I doubt it.
CinemaCon. I think they're going to use CinemaCon also for a big jumping off point, which he announces the start of the summer of Superman. I don't see it as a big deal. A lot of a certain fan base that needs to use some of this right here, some soap. They seem to think it's a big deal. Me personally, I do not think it's that big of a deal. There's plenty of stuff they can do. Plus, I think next year at Comic-Con, they're going to announce a lot more of their slate and what's to come in the next 27, 28, whatever else. Let Superman
come out, Creature Commandos, and I think you're right. I think they're going to have a huge presence next year. Yes. Even if Marvel doesn't, I think they will. And they'll be like Marvel was this year. I think DC's will be next year for sure because they have a lot to announce.
Marvel didn't even go last year.
No, they didn't.
This is the first time they've been in a few years, I think.
2022 was the last time they went. That's when they announced the whole slate. And that was only 2 years ago. And look how much has changed just in that 2 years. Like,
thanks to Jonathan Majors.
You can thank Jonathan Majors for that.
Yeah.
Having to rechange the whole entire franchise, whole entire movie, but for the better.
Oh, God.
And Avengers Doomsday, great title. I wasn't sure what they were going to name it.
I mean, we knew it would be switched to Doom. We didn't know what the name of the movie would be.
It's funny. I was watching the video, and when Robert Downey Jr. took the mask off, people were yelling. There's one guy yelling out of the crowd, "Jared Leto!" It's like, no, it's not Jared Leto. It's Robert Downey. Even better. Thank God it's not Jared Leto. We don't need Morbius.
Could you imagine Jared Leto?
Morbius his ass. We don't need his Morbius up our MCU. Thank you.
It's Morbid time, baby. Morbid
time. No, it's not. It's not Morbid time. Not at all.
Remember, they convinced Sony to re-release that in theaters, and they made like $35,000 in the weekend.
Yes. What an embarrassment. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with a new show. And and I'm sure we're gonna probably do this a live stream again for D23. We'll see. Hopefully there'll be a lot more announcements. I know when this happened last time, they announced a little bit at Comic-Con, and then D23 they just let the dam burst and everything was released. The whole
I want to run
slate.
something by you off pod.
Okay.
See what you think about that. But yeah, this has been fun. 2 nights in a row.
2 nights in a row. We kind of get the hang of it. And I
we
just gotta
went
get a green
almost an hour
screen.
last night.
I gotta agree.
Yeah.
I gotta get a green screen so I don't have all this fucking
Or just
stuff
get a
popping
shelf
up.
in your background.
I like having stuff behind me. I may be in space. I could be on a skyscraper. Hey, I could be in an alternate universe. You never know. But thanks everybody for listening or watching.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you in a couple weeks on our podcast. Follow us on all our socials. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify. We're everywhere. So yeah, peace.
We're the Geek Blurb crew, here to enlighten you. Talking all things geeky, from movies to wrestling to our podcast is the place where you wanna be for all the latest news and nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. We review comic book flicks and sci-fi hits, riding the wave of action movies with all the cool bits. From Iron Man to Star Wars, we cover it all. And when it comes to wrestling, we never drop the ball. Geek Blurb, we're the kings of the nerds. Rating movies and pineapples, our opinions never blurred. Join us each week for a geeky chat with the latest news and a dose of nostalgia that. So if you're a fan of the comic book craze, or a lover of sci-fi and all its maze, tune in to Geek Blurb, we're here to entertain.